Welcome to Martial Arts and Medu Netter. Baron Cope here. Well, happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. And I hope you're enjoying the holidays. I know it's kind of stressful with COVID, but let's hang in there. And as they say, help is on the way. Vaccine's coming. Stay prepared, stay careful, distance, wear your mask when you're out in the public, and pray. Let's see now. This is December 2020, and let's get into our new Martial Arts and Medu Netter show. Today's subject: why do we study Kemetic, ancient Egyptian culture and history? Why do we do that? It's gone. It's history past. It's some people say it's dead. Why shouldn't we just pay attention to what's going on today and forget about history? Well, you never really hear Europeans say that. They talk about Greek history, talk about Viking history, talk about Middle Ages history, King Arthur and all that kind of stuff. They talk about history of the colonial periods, of forging through America, going to Australia, South Africa, India, the British going all over the world. They constantly talk about their history from ancient to today. This is what we learn in school, high school, junior high school, college, university. This is what we learn, and it's good. Okay, it's biased, but it's good. It gives us a background to information and data that we can hold in our brains. But we know it's biased. A lot of this Tarzan history, colonial history, where they seek to justify colonialization, slavery, conquest, stripping people of their lands and resources and taking over their lands, and they try to rationalize and make it seem like it's either God's will or manifest destiny. And so most of their history that's taught in the United States, it supports that dialogue, that premise of manifest destiny, or if God made us come and take this land from the savages. And also it creates a dialogue or a story that the Europeans made and created everything that's of value today, they made. Okay, it's not true, it's biased, and it's just naturally to be biased because they need that rationalization to justify a lot of dirty things that they did on the way. Okay, I like Vikings because Vikings conquer, pillage, and plunder, but in Viking history, they don't blame anybody for telling them to do that. They don't say, God made us conquer and pillage and plunder you. They say, we did it. We did it and we chose to do it. We're not going to blame it on Odin or Thor or Balder. No, the gods have nothing to do with this. We wanted to be pirates. Okay, I can at least respect that. It's when you start creating history and dialogue that says, God made me enslave you because you were sinning. And so God sent me I'm the tool from God to punish and kill and murder and rape you because you were sinning. Okay, that's the kind of history that doesn't make any sense. Okay, let me go back. Why do we study African ancient history? Well, I'm going to try to explain it this way. Most of man's written knowledge, most of the entire history of man, the written knowledge of humanity resides in ancient Kemet, that's ancient Egypt, and Nubia, Napata, Nubia, Meroe, Sudan. Okay, so let me say that again. Most of the written records of all humanity exist in Africa, in ancient Kemet and Nubia. So that you really understand what I'm talking about, is that we all are familiar with Ramses the Great. In the biblical story, there's a king named Ramses who chases Moses through the desert. Okay, we all heard that story of Ramses. They had the Charleston Heston movie comes on every year, every Christmas, and they show Charleston Heston portrayed as Moses being chased by, I think, Yul Brynner or somebody, and he chases him through the desert and chases him and he finally gets drowned in the river. Okay, that's myth, but you may believe it's real, but that's mythos. The real Ramses the Great, Ramses II, lived to be 91 years old. We have his body, in his tomb, and his burial, in his written records. So the real Ramses, the King Ramses, Pharaoh Ramses, lived to be 91 years old. Okay, you can check the museum and find his body on YouTube or something like that. Okay, so maybe that what they were talking about. There were many Ramses, King Ramses. There was Ramses I, Ramses II, Ramses III, sons of Ramses. So maybe they're talking about some other Ramses. But the Ramses the Great lived to be 91 years old. But let me tell you about the history of that. Ramses the Great reigned for many years, one of the longest reigning pharaohs in Kemet, Egypt. And he lived around 1100 to 1200 BC. Okay, 1100 to 1200 BC. Now, when Ramses was king, pharaoh of all Egypt, or Kemet, this is the real name, Kemet, he had no idea what went on 2,000 years ago. I mean, not firsthand. He had to read the records that spanned, they went all the way to 3000 BC. That's when the pyramids were actually built. The Great Pyramids were built at 3000 BC. Ramses was born around 1100 BC, 2,000 years after the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx were built. That makes ancient Kemet the longest lasting nation the world has ever seen and has ever been. So it is this is written. So at 3000 BC, they were writing records, stories, full writing to describe their language and their culture, full writing ability at 3000 BC. So the pyramids were built by Khufu and Khafre, the Great Pyramids, and Menkaure. Pharaoh Menkaure, Pharaoh Khafre, and Pharaoh Khufu. The first one was Khufu. They still didn't start the civilization. The civilization was started by Ahad-Narmer in the pre-dynasty. But by the time of Khufu and Khafre, the Great Pyramids were built, and they were fully writing, fully doing the mathematics. The so-called Pythagorean theorem was already designed. They knew what pi was. They had calculus. They were already at a heyday at 3000 BC. This is fully over 1500 years before Greece or China or India was even writing. In other words, the world was illiterate. The entire world was illiterate. Now put that, in your cap. Illiterate. China, India, Europe, they were illiterate. The only two people writing in the world were Sumerians and Africans. The Africans, in my opinion, were writing first. I've seen articles that showed where the cuneiform, cuneiform was derived directly from the hieroglyphics from Africa. So the Africans were writing first. A full writing system, which persisted from 3000 BC all the way to Ramses' age at 1200 BC, and then kept going all the way to AD, to like 400 AD.